Spokesperson Jess Brown-Fuller.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If the situation wasn't so serious, it would be laughable. It seems like people have tougher checks to currently speak to an advisor at HMRC or get a GP appointment than offenders have to be released from a prison. Since the mistaken releases of recent weeks, I have heard horrendous reports from prison officers inside prisons. Prisoners identified by low-quality black and white photographs, printed on paper, a few basic questions on personal information before being cleared for release, information that could be readily shared between inmates before release. That is not good enough, especially when we now have biometric technology which is currently used for visitors to prisons and not inmates. We cannot be relying on an honour-based system, reliant on the goodwill of convicts to hand themselves in, and police forces certainly don't have spare capacity to be conducting regular manhunts for people that should still be locked up. After the release of Hadush Kabatu, the Deputy Prime Minister promised enhanced security checks. Yet since then, some of society's most dangerous individuals have still ended up on our streets. So will he now spell out what those enhanced checks actually involve and whether biometric testing is used routinely to confirm a prisoner's identity before release? And can he confirm what training prison officers receive before managing prison releases? Like most of the justice system, our prison system has been mismanaged and underfunded by the previous complacent Conservative government. So we do appreciate that this government inherited this mess. However, the numbers of mistaken prisoner releases have risen sharply under their watch, and they cannot continue to risk public safety, particularly given the fact that it took them a whole 7 days to realise a prisoner had been mistakenly released, and are seemingly blaming an email being unread for the most recent error. Can he confirm how long the Ministry of Justice has known about the 3 prisoners at large, and how long have the police been trying to find them? The Deputy Prime Minister has promised the public an investigation, but they cannot wait months for answers while their safety continues to be put at risk. So what immediate action can he take today to ensure that dangerous criminals stay behind bars and these mistakes stop once and for all?
Sarah State.
Well, can I say to the Honourable Lady, when she reflects on the releases in error, that 57,000 people are released from prison every year, and I'm sure, like me, she would commend the good work of prison officers and those in offender management units across our prisons doing a very difficult job in what are very difficult circumstances. She refers to the complexity. The last government kept expanding its emergency release scheme from 18 days first, then to 35 days, then to 70 days. At 2021, a review found 503 pages of guidance that staff had to follow for early release. It's a paper-based system. And so I cannot stand here as a Secretary of State and say that in a paper-based system that you can eradicate all human error. You can't. The only way to deal with that would be technology, to bring those levels down to something that I think the House would think was acceptable. I want to see the figure come down to historic levels over the course of this in Parliament. It will, of course, take further investment, but I hope that the investment in 10 million in this new digital team, and indeed the support that we're offering now between courts and prisons, will make a substantial difference. She asked me what I'm doing: a new Justice Performance Board, of course Dame Lyn Owens review, the urgent query process that I've outlined, the digital rapid response system, and of course simplifying the release policy, which is effectively what comes out of the sentencing bill.
Linda Jess.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does my right honourable friend agree that wrongful releases of prisoners would have caused a lot of distress and anxiety to the victims, their families and others? But does he also agree that we inherited a prison system that was in complete chaos, and it was in such a major breakdown that whilst we are taking the appropriate action now to sort out the prison system and to prevent wrongful releases, this is going to take some time?
So State.
Well, I'm very grateful to the honourable gentleman for his question, and he's absolutely right, and I think the public recognise this, that they won't particularly have visited our prisons, but they know that cuts in our public services are real. They see it in their local authorities. They see it in their local hospitals. They see it in their local schools. They know that things like Sure Start were decimated. And so too our prison service, which the public don't see, I'm afraid was one of the worst hit public services. Now, it's my job to minimise that risk to the public, and that's why I'm introducing the measures that we are. That's why I've asked Dame Lyn Owens to look at this very, very carefully, former head of the National Crime Agency, and I know she'll do a forensic examination, and I'll implement her recommendations so we can bear down on this problem. But it's a paper-based system. I didn't realise coming into this job that it was a paper-based system. I'm not sure the Shadow Justice Secretary has realised at all since he's been doing this job that it's a paper. But his former Justice Secretaries under his government know that it's a paper-based system, and they know that's why errors happen.
Dr. Neil Shastra-Hurst.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mistaken releases of prisoners don't just undermine public trust and confidence in the system, they cost money. They cost money because the police have to go and find them and return them to prison. Can the Secretary of State set out how much it has cost the police to return prisoners to prison since this government came to power?
So state.
Well, previous governments did not have that data, and I'm pretty confident that I don't have that data. If it does exist, it exists with individual police forces who deal with these issues operationally. But he's absolutely right. Every prisoner released in error has to be found by the police. I thank the police for all that they've done, and I particularly thank Haringey Police for finding the 2 high-profile cases.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Under the system in force for many years, the government cannot initiate deportation action until after minimum